Hi, friends, and welcome to our, let's see here, second week of Global Read Aloud. This week, we are going to be continue reading from StuntBoy in the meantime, written by the one, the only Jason Reynolds, and illustrated by Raoul III. So today we're going to be reading pages 45 through 89. Let's go ahead and let's jump in. So let me change a few things here. Unmute this mic and square that up so you can see it. All right, let's jump in. So where did we leave off? So we left off with, we've got Zola and we've got Portico here. And Portico's our main character. And Portico has just found his superpower as StuntBoy. And what we have found also in Portico's life is that Portico has some things happening in his family life as well, that his parents have now gotten two apartments, and he hasn't put together like, why do they need two apartments? He still hasn't realized a lot of that. So we've also learned that Portico has a bully in his life. It's this character right here. It is Herbert. And Herbert and Zola and Portico, they all go to the same school. And they ironically all live at the same building as well. So let's go ahead and let's keep reading. Here we go. In the meantime, what's going on? Portico now asked his parents, still arguing over the musical chair. Remember how I talked about the letter X causing anxiety? Well, to Portico, his parents had basically become screaming X's. But once they saw Portico standing there, they stopped. Oh, Portico, nothing's going on. Hold on, let's time out and just have a moment here. So what had happened just before, where we left off, was that Portico's parents were moving furniture into the two new apartments. And we learned about this special chair that Portico's parents have, that they actually got when they were in high school. Sasha and Marvin, his parents did. And this was a very special chair, and they're arguing who gets to take the chair to their new apartment. So let's keep reading. Here we go. But once they saw Portico standing there, they stopped. Oh, Portico, nothing's going on, his mother said. We're just having a disagreement. That's all. Look at how they look like X's because they've got their arms and legs out there. Well, maybe you need to take yourselves pretzels and meditate. Make yourselves pretzels and meditate, Portico suggested. Or you could try breathing through your toes. No, his father said, clearly thrown off. We'll figure it out. Don't worry about us. As a matter of fact, in the meantime, why don't you go see what Zola is up to? His mom added. Portico took 10 steps to Zola's, sneaking past the half door, of course, and knocked. Hey, Portico, Mrs. Bronner said, opening the door with a smile. Zola's in the courtyard. So to the stairwell, Portico went. To him, the elevator was up and the stairs were for down, for leaping whole flights and rail riding others until he got to the ground floor. I'm going to pause right there. Here's a wonder I have. I wonder, what is a stairwell? And I wonder, what is a courtyard? Do you know those words? Remember, as we're reading, write down things that you wonder about and things that you've noticed. The courtyard wasn't a court or a yard, really, just an open space between the apartment buildings, a community garden that grows peas and carrots, a fountain with no water in it, and a good place for roller skating, if that's your thing. Zola was there, just like her mother said, kicked back on a lawn chair. What are you doing? Having a day at the beach. My parents are in the meantime. What are you talking about? They're fighting over a chair. And when I asked them what was going on, they told me they were in the meantime. I never seen them in the meantime before. Was it mean? Oh, it was mean, Portico said. And I even thought about getting a new name every day out of there. That's how mean it was. Sheesh, tell me, like, what is happening? I just did. No, I mean, tell me, because it got your frets on freak out. Portico broke it all down for her. The words, pulling the chair back and forth, the way their faces looked like paper balls. He tried to give as much detail as possible. And then they told me to leave. In the meantime, Zola nodded 1 second. She shook her head the next. You know what this sounds like? I wonder, what does it sound like? Oh, what is this? Like episode 2 of Super Space Warriors, when Mater and Pater find out the only people on Earth who can protect the sun from burning out, because if the sun burns out, then Earth will die. Right? And on this episode, they find out about the Irritors, the aliens that are basically planning on putting out the sun, right? So Mater and Pater decide, instead of waiting for the Irritors to come attack, they're just gonna build a spaceship. The Sunjet? Right, the Sunjet. And they were gonna use it to go to space before the Irritors even tried to attack the sun. But when they got in the Sunjet, do you remember who Mater and Pater are? It's Sola and our wonderful leader here, Portico. So here they are in this imagination world that Zola's helping him to imagine about. That's a really nice friend. They both grabbed the steering wheel, right? Yeah, because they both felt like they deserved to fly the Sunjet. And they like break it? Yep. They broke the steering wheel. Then a whole bunch of wires started doing electrical stuff, sparking and sizzling and all that. And all of a sudden, an explosion of great magnitude. Exactly. And they ran from it as the mountain of fire chased behind them. Whew. That was a great little bit right there. Portico's eyes got big, like big. The TV in Portico's brain turned on. So, you tell me that's what's happening with my parents? No, I'm just saying, based on what you've told me, it reminds me of that episode. But Portico had already stopped listening because his taste tunnel had switched places with his gas tank, his stomach. Now coughing, the inside mix up. The frets. My parents, they in danger. They might break something, a steering wheel, or how are they going to turn without a steering wheel? I thought they were arguing about a chair. What if they explode? He jumped up. Wait, what? My dad ain't fast enough to outrun fire. No, wait. Nope, gotta go, Zola. Anything could happen, anything, especially in the meantime. Portico, I think maybe they need me. They need StuntBoy. Going up. There's a lot to digest. I'm wondering, episode 2 of Super Space Warriors, is that something they made up? Is that from a real show? I can't remember. Do you remember? Going up. Portico dashed from the courtyard into the building and waited for the elevator, or as Portico called it, the Vader, patiently. Well, actually, not so patiently. Hi, Ms. Rosedale, Portico said to the older woman, who was also being a Vader waiter. When the doors opened, they both got on. Portico pushed the number 4. Miss Rosedale, well, she couldn't see a thing, so she pushed every single other number. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, bingo, 9, and 10. This made a lot of people Vader waiter haters, but not Portico. Ain't having it in him. Who's that? Miss Rosedale said, squinting at Portico. 2nd floor, doors open, doors closed. It's me, Portico. Oh, hi, son. How are you doing? I'm okay. Just gotta go save my parents. 3rd floor, doors open, doors closed. What do you say, baby? 4th door, doors open. Herbert Singletary, the worst, had just come out of the half door dungeon and was standing in the way of Portico's apartment like a human hurdle. Ugh. Portico's parents were a few moments away from pretty much blowing up, and Portico, now StuntBoy, had no time for trash talk. Stunt time. StuntBoy stormed into the apartment and charged into the living room. Truck wheel! He shouted, rolling into the middle of the floor. Floppity flip! He yelled, flipping over the musical chair. Pancake! He howled, landing wrong on his belly. Oof! The fall knocked the wind out of him. Look at that. Wow. Whew. He was still working on that one. Either way, once he'd finished rolling and flipping and oofing, he looked up. His parents stared at him. First, they looked a little concerned. Then they smiled, and it seemed like the meantime had ended. No explosions. You okay, Portico? His mother asked. Yeah, son. You cool? His father asked. From his father. Yeah. Just doing my job. He panted, out of breath. Y'all cool? Yeah, I think so, Portico's father said. He turned to Mrs. Reeves. You take the chair. No, it's fine. You can have it, she said. No, it's yours. Go for it. It's ours, but I think you should take it. No, you take the chair and I'll take this. Gran cleared her throat. At least they all thought it was Gran, but she was in the middle of resting her eyes. And it wasn't Portico, who now sat next to her on the couch with the remote pointing at the TV. And it couldn't have been a new name every day. Or could it? I don't think Gran was really asleep. All right, here we go. Episode 2. Dun dun dun. Lawn chairs, picture frames, and bully bugs. Wonder what this means. We've got lawn chairs. We've already been talking about picture frames. What's going on? Bully bugs. Who are bully bugs? All right, let's keep reading. We're reading all the way to page 89. So let's keep going. Here we go. Roll credits. Cue the theme music. No, not that theme music. This is the episode where we bring in the choir to make music with their mouths. Yes, the children's choir and the oldie choir. Squeaks and howls are what we're looking for here. Got it? Squeaks and howls. Good. Now, the song. What's that? Yes, I know it's going to be hard for the choir to make music with their mouths and sing at the same time. But I've seen Portico smack on his food and talk at the same time. So I know it's possible. And a 1, and a 2, and a welcome to StuntBoy. In the meantime, super duper stunt villain. You know StuntBoy. But did you know before he even became the greatest superhero you've never, well, you just heard of, he'd already had a supervillain? That's right. And that supervillain's name is... Look at the shadow. Do you know who the supervillain is? Do you know now? Herbert Singletary the worst. Dun dun dun. But before Herbert Singletary the worst, was Herbert Singletary the worst? He was just Herbert Singletary, the new kid in the building. And before he was the new kid in the building, he was just little Herbie. That's what his mama calls him. Can you believe that? Little Herbie. Little Herbie grew up in a house somewhere where houses are. I'm not sure, but I bet Herbie's house had a few windows, maybe 2 bathrooms, and maybe in the backyard there was just a whole bunch of green grass and nothing. I don't know if any of this is really how little Herbie's house was, wherever his house was, which is wherever houses are. But what is true is Herbie's mother, Mrs. Singletary, and the mom married a man who lived in Skylight Gardens. That's where they live. And it's a good thing she did, because Herbie and his mother got to upgrade from their house to this castle. But this is another secret. Portico doesn't know this yet. Oh. Commercial break. This commercial is being brought to you by How to be a good castle mate. Number 1, run up and down the hallways, all the hallways, always. Number 2, mind your business, but remember, everything in this castle is your business. And number 3, introduce yourself to new castle mates, especially if they look sad. Now, back to your regularly scheduled program. When Portico met little Herbie. Let's see what happened there. When Portico met little Herbie, he was sitting on a bench outside the building. Portico had seen him a few times before in the elevator or in the lobby. And every time he saw him, little Herbie looked sad. Portico saw his arm elbow deep in a bag of chips and sat next to him. Want some? Picture. Hey, you want some of these barbecue chips? They're delicious. Even my cat likes them. You know what's weird about barbecue chips? They don't taste like nothing I ever had at a barbecue. Not even potato salad, which seems like it would be easy because chips are potatoes. Ain't that strange? Dot, dot, dot. Still isn't talking. So you new around here? Don't matter. I ain't staying. What? Why wouldn't you want to stay here? I mean, I don't know where you from, but all this is a castle. Is that what you think? Yep. You really think this place is a castle? Yep. Little Herbie started laughing, and Portico didn't understand why he was laughing, but figured it was okay because laughing was better than crying. But then little Herbie started crying, and Portico figured that was okay too, because sometimes you cry when you laugh real hard. When little Herbie's mother called for him from one of the many castle windows, "Little Herbie!" she shouted. Little Herbie twisted his face all up like he was trying to get his eyes stuck to suck the tears back in. "Little Herbie, you better get in this house." Portico reached out to shake Herbie's hand. "I'm Portico. Welcome to the castle, little Herbie." But little Herbie didn't shake hand. Portico reached out to shake Herbie's hand. "And Portico, welcome to the castle, little Herbie." But little Herbie didn't shake Portico's hand or give him a high five or nothing like that. Instead, he pushed Portico off the bench onto the ground, snatched the bag of chips from him. "My name is Herbert Singletary. If you ever call me little Herbie again, you're going to pay for it." "Pay for what? I don't think I should have to pay nothing to get you knocked on the ground or get my chips ate. Plus, I don't have no money anyway." Herbert glared at Portico with mean eyebrows and stormed off. Portico got the message. No more little Herbie. Instead, Portico called him Herbert Singletary the Sad. Then, after a few more push downs and put downs and those eyebrows, Portico started calling him Herbert Singletary the Worst. Portico also switched to salt and vinegar chips because they taste like salt and vinegar. You ever had them? A better question is. All right, let's keep going. We're almost done here. We are on page 67. We are about 20 pages out from where we're stopping. So you're doing a great job listening. Remember, if you've got some wiggles, you can always pause this video and then continue on. So let's go ahead and let's keep reading. Here we go. Have you ever sold a lawn chair? Okay, so in case you haven't figured it out yet, Herbert ain't the best. Far from it. But Zola, well, she's amazing. And her mom's amazing. Guess who else is amazing? Her dad, Mr. Bronner. He sold lawn chairs. I know, I told you that already, but it's so cool. I had to say it again. On day 169 of Portico and Zola's best friendship, Mr. Bronner interrupted them as they were watching TV. Well, they weren't just watching TV. Portico was drawing what was on screen. Told you drawing is cool. Which, do you see how he's drawing down there? That's pretty neat. Which was hard because what was on the screen kept moving. And Zola was rewriting every line of the show in the way she thought it really should go. Drawing and writing, watching TV. "Dad, this is the best part," Zola shrieked, trying to see around her father. "Plus, I'm almost done with the sun jet," Portico added. in the middle of the drawing one of the wings. I know, but I have a question for you two lawn chariots. Zola's father said he loved lawn chair jokes, especially corny ones. Sometimes he called Zola and her mom his sweet lawn cherries, as in chair ease, as in you knew him, you'd love this guy. Portico and Zola sat up. How would y'all like to come on a job with me? What do you mean? Zola asked, sitting up more. I mean, come with me to sell a lawn chair. Portico looked at Zola. Zola looked at Portico. Yes, they both said instantly, scrambling for their shoes. Mr. Bronner went over to one of his many lawn chairs and folded it in half. Who are you selling it to? Portico asked, nodding. Hopefully my mom and dad, but we're going to need two, one for each of our apartments. Y'all got two apartments? Mr. Bronner asked, pausing. We will soon, Portico said. They've been organizing stuff. The musical chair goes in the pile, not the musical ironing board goes in that pile. You know, sharing, he shrugged. Well, congratulations, Mr. Bronner said. But this beauty is going to Ms. Majesty Morris up on the 10th floor. Mr. Bronner lifted the chair, but Portico stopped him. I got it, he said. Careful. It's pretty heavy, kid. We get to meet a new neighbor. This sounds fun. Wonder what she's like. Ooh, I'm wondering while I'm reading. Are you wondering and noticing things too? Yeah, but I don't want you to hurt yourself, Portico said. I can do it. This was just another day as StuntBoy, doing his job so the real hero stays safe. But when Portico tried to lift it, you realized his muscles were probably a little tired from all the drawing. Zola grabbed the other side. We can do it together, she said. Look at them. It's great. Mr. Bronner moseyed down the hall. What does that mean to mosey? Portico and Zola panting and gasping, their heads becoming hot air balloons. Who knew those things were so heavy? They shuffled past open doors of some of their castle mates, like Mama Gloria, who ain't nobody's mama, but acts like she's everybody's mama. Her apartment door was open because she was cooking greens, and greens always stink up the place. Where y'all going with that chair? So instead of it making just her apartment smell like veggie funk, which smells like poop, she preferred to make the whole floor smell like dog walker boot bottom, which smells like poop poop. Also, she kept her door open because she was so nosy. If being nosy had anything to do with actual noses, Mama Gloria would have a face full of them, just noses, everywhere. Portico and Zola and Mr. Bronner also bumped into the twins. They are Sile and Bile. The thing about them was that they always claimed to be different faced, but no one could tell them apart. The other thing about them was that they were the building's dodgeball champions. They were strong enough to make a rubber ball feel like a cannonball. And on and on to the elevator, Portico and Zola went, with Mr. Bronner, the best lawn chair salesman in the building, leading the way. He might be the only lawn chair salesman, right? Up to the 10th floor. Ooh, here we go. The 10th floor was the top floor, the tip top. Portico had been up there a bunch of times. See how to be a good castlemate. Running in the hall and riding the Vader. But he'd never been in anyone's apartment up there. He'd never been able to look out a window and see what life was like that high off the ground. What the neighborhood looked like from the top of the castle. But this was his chance. Ooh, yes. They step by stepped all the way to the end of the hall. This is it, Mr. Bronner said, tapping on the door. It opened and there was Miss Majesty Morris, who always looked cool because her eyes, well, her eye makeup. She would paint it on so that it looked like wings or like she was a cat or that her eyes were cats with wings. It's hard to explain. But the way she painted makeup around her eyes made her look like she was a costume away from being a superhero too. Like she'd forgotten to hide her secret identity as the lady who lives on the top floor and orders lawn chairs. Come on in, she said, moving aside so Portico and Zola could shimmy the chair through the doorway. Once all the way in, Mr. Bronner set the chair up in the middle of Ms. Morris's living room. "Y'all have a seat on the couch," he said to Portico and Zola. Just then, Portico had the urge to bust a stunt. Right there, high in the sky, maybe a spin-a-blam, which is when he'd spin until dizzy, then fall out, a move usually seen on funny TV shows, but he didn't because his mother found out he'd spin. If his mother had found out he'd spin-a-blammed in a stranger's house, dun, dun, dun. I totally agree on that one. Whew. We wouldn't want to do that. So he took a stunt-free seat on the couch. But that seat on the couch wasn't just a seat on the couch. It was a seat with a view of the world. Portico looked out the window at all the big things that suddenly seemed like a small things. The trees had shrunk and the cars and buses and the snack truck. The people. Where there goes Herbert Singletary, the worst, Portico said. Zola looked down at Herbert, then kissed her teeth. "Ain't so big from up here," she said. He also wasn't so big from down there. "Nope, definitely ain't," Portico said, watching him. Hanging outside of the front of the building, he and his ween-aged friends, where are they at? They're down here, right here. Teeny tiny, they looked like teeny tiny ants. "Y'all ready to see magic?" Mr. Bronner asked. Portico and Zola focused on him. The lawn chair was set up and ready to be yawned on. "Here's how you sell a lawn chair." How to sell a lawn chair. Ooh, let's watch how this goes. Here we go. Lay on it and pretend to fall asleep. And when the person who is supposed to be buying it gets weirded out about you falling asleep in their living room, open your eyes and say, "Who needs a lawn chair when you can have a yawn?" Yeah, it's cheesy, but it works. At least it did for Mr. Bronner because Miss Morris laughed and snorted and, more importantly, paid. And the best part about her paying was that then Mr. Bronner invited Portico and Zola to the snack truck outside to get chips. There's the snack truck right there. "I'll meet you all out there," Portico said. "I just want to quick tell my folks about what life is like on the top floor." So Portico practiced his newest stunt. He'd created it just moments before, inspired by Mr. Bronner, called the lawn chair, which meant he laid on the stairs because he always took the stairs down. And instead of doing the Chico step stumble and rolling down, Portico slid down, flight after flight after flight after flight after flight after flight, to the floor. He was on the 10th. Now he's going down to the 4th. How many flights of stairs did he just lawn chair down? He broke into a sprint down the hall because he could already hear them, his parents, arguing inside. Then he was inside the arguing, and it was like stepping into static, the kind of static people get on walkie-talkies when they have to keep saying, "You're breaking up, you're breaking up." There they were, his mother and father, two standing statics, this time shouting at each other about, you won't believe it, a picture frame. Not a picture, just the frame, a piece of wood in the shape of a rectangle. "I don't know why you're fighting me on this. It's my frame. You know it's mine," Portico's mother shouted, tugging the frame toward her. "But I made it." "These hands made it," said his father, tugging it back. "But you gave it to me." Tug. "No, I gave it to you to put a picture in, which you never did." Tug. "Because it's ugly." "Then why do you want it so bad?" "Because it's mine. You gave it to me." Tug, tug, tug. And then finally, they noticed Portico standing there with all the excitement of the 10th floor draining out of him. "What's going on?" Portico asked. Nothing, his father said. "Yeah, nothing," his mother said. Oh dear, look what's happening. "Sure sounds like something to me," Gran said in the 2 seconds she was awake. "We're just having a disagreement about this picture frame," Portico's mother said. "Well," Portico said, "if you took a picture of what I just saw up on the 10th floor, you wouldn't even need a frame." You were on the 10th floor? She asked. Yep. Helped Mr. Bronner sell a lawn chair, Portico shrugged. Now Zola and him are at the snack truck. That's cool, but your father and I need to finish this conversation. So in the meantime, why don't you go get a snack too? In the meantime, again. When Portico got outside, Zola was peeling apart an ice cream sandwich and her father was munching on pumpkin seeds. You want some pumpkin seeds? He asked, offering Portico the bag. Portico shook his head. You want to buy my ice cream sandwich? Zola asked, but again, Portico shook his head. Well, what do you want then? Mr. Bronner asked. I gotta pay you for all your hard work. Just some salt and vinegar chips, please, Portico said. After Mr. Bronner bought him the chips, he got into a conversation with Mr. Mister about the best shoestrings he'd ever had. And while those two oldies shared stories about how to keep your shoes tight, 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 Portico and Zola sat on the bus stop bench, snacking away. You okay? What's wrong? You know what's weird about salt and vinegar chips? Portico mumbled, finally saying something. What? Vinegar is salty already, so it's basically salt and more salt chips. The bitterness makes him pucker his lips, kiss the air. That's what's making you salty? Zola asked. Nah, my parents are the salty ones. They, in the meantime, again. Now, they're fighting over a picture frame. Never even had no picture in it. I was going to put the one I was drawing today in it, the sun jet. Finally fill it with something good. Zola thought it all over before offering some advice. You know what that reminds me of? What? That episode of Super Space Warriors. I think episode 22, where Mater and Pater are fighting over the portal necklace, trying to see who gonna put their head through it first. Remember that? I'm gonna pause for just a moment before we keep reading. Did you notice what Zola just did again? We had Portico feeling the frets earlier, and all of a sudden we went to Super Space Warriors. Did you notice how Portico's talking to Zola again? He's in the frets. He's sad about his parents. And we go right to another Super Space Warrior episode. I wonder why she's doing that. Wonder why his parents are still arguing about putting furniture in two different apartments. Let's keep reading. Here we go. We're almost done. We've got 7 more pages. Here we go. Yeah. And whoever put it on Zaps Back to the Past, not just go back, they could mess with history, which could change the present, which is why Mater and Pater both wanted to go back, so they could make more sun protectors like them to help fight off the irritors. But instead of talking about it or making a plan, they just fought over the portal necklace because they both wanted credit when they really were both already heroes. Wonder who Mater and Pater are supposed to represent here. I feel like there's some symbolism going on here. Yeah, except they couldn't really be heroes because they were so worried about changing the past that they ain't paying attention to the fact that the irritors were attacking the sun. I know. I wonder who's the sun here. I wonder if they're really talking about a real sun. They were stealing fire and light from it. And while the Super Space Warriors were fighting over the portal necklace, pulling on it until an explosion of the great magnitude. Yep. And the portal broke and the past, even the good parts about it, disappeared forever. Zola popped the top cookie of her melting ice cream sandwich into her mouth. The Portico's eyes got big like 2 potato chips. His brain started buzzing. His insides started piling and mixing up. His squiggles felt like they were wrapping around his beatbox like a boa constrictor. Oh my. What? My parents, are they going to destroy the past? They're going to break the portal, aren't they? No, wait. That's not what I'm saying. That's on TV. Right. But still, I mean, they're on TV. This is TV. Your mom said so. This is not, and I have to stop them. Wait, Portico. It was too late. He'd already run off. Portico! Frame flame made of potato chip crumbs to the rescue. All right, got 3 more pages. Here we go. As Portico ran back toward the building, he tried to avoid Herbert Singletary the worst, who was still hanging outside with his friends. They were ants a little while ago, but now they were different bugs, bigger bugs, meaner bugs. Oh, that's where the bug title thing came in that we read earlier. Portico tried to run past them when Herbert stuck his leg out and tripped him. Oh no. Portico fell hard, tumbled, rolled, but Herbert had no idea that Portico had already become StuntBoy. So to hit the ground was nothing but an opportunity to pop back up and keep running. A weird version of the truck wheel stunt. And that's what Portico did. Didn't even drop his chips. That boy is good. All right, let's see how the next 2 pages go. He ran into the lobby, to the elevator, hit the up button. Waited. Maybe we should play some music here. Something jazzy, something that says waiting a long time. Eventually, when the elevator came, everyone in it was getting out of it. So many people that he couldn't make his way inside in time and missed it. Hit the button again. Waited. Doors opened. He got on, pushed the 4 button, and on the way up, he practiced the plaster blaster just in case. But he should have been practicing the didn't even see you standing there, because when StuntBoy got to his apartment, he burst through the door to find his parents standing there. His mother shaking her head, his father holding the picture frame, which to StuntBoy was all the reason he needed to go with option C. Spilled milk, he said, throwing himself onto the floor. He rolled around for a while, slowly and weirdly inching toward his father. Then, option W. I didn't even see this one coming. He took a few potato chips from the bag and crushed them in his hand, and he blew the chip crumbs into his father's face. Whoa. Did you just notice that? Would you do that? Oh my goodness. Let's see how this is going to end. Gah! What in the world, Portico? It stings. Is that salt and vinegar? His father shouted, rubbing his eyes. He dropped the picture frame. Portico's mother ran to the kitchen and came back with a damp cloth. She patted Mr. Reeves' eyes until he was able to open them again. Gran, suddenly awake again, chuckled and asked if there were any chips left. Whoa, that's a lot to digest, friends. Okay, I'm going to pause right there because that means we're done reading. Let's come back over here now. All right, we just read a lot. And there's a lot to notice and reflect on. You might have some wonders, some questions. Right now, pause, write down those wonders, those questions, and save them. Because we will have our discussion group this week for StuntBoy on the 14th. So today is the 11th, so 11, 12, 13, 14. So on Friday at 9:30, we're gonna meet here on Zoom and we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk a little bit about what did you notice this time in StuntBoy? What do you have questions? What are you wondering about? I talked a little bit about my questions and my notices while I was reading, but do you have the same? You notice and wonder differently than me. Let's come back together and let's discuss this great book. Wow, this is great. And teachers, I just picked up our CML collection, so I will be delivering these books to your classroom. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for joining me today. Once again, we made it right under the 45-minute marker. That was a long time to read. Thanks for sticking around. I'm enjoying StuntBoy. I hope you are too. Thanks for reading with me, and I can't wait to talk about this great book with you. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.